another week again. It's time for our picks for Trojan of the Week. Will and I...
The Trojans avoided an upset in Colorado this week. Hear what USC needs to do to take down the Arizona Wildcats on Saturday.
See how Kayla Williams is making a case for a second Heisman Trophy.
And we'll introduce you to the Wildcats to watch out for. All that and more coming up on Sports Scene. Welcome back to Sports Scene. I'm Casey Kasliner.
I'm Pickle Coleman.
And I'm Scott Hills, and what a week of sports it was. It was a telling Saturday for USC football. The Trojans narrowly defeated Colorado 48-41 following a second-half comeback by the Buffaloes. Let's get into our recap. USC took their talents to Boulder on Saturday, where they faced the infamous Coach Prime and Shedeur Sanders in an offensive battle. After leading Colorado by as many as 27 points on Saturday, USC fans were on the edge of their seats. Although USC never trailed against the Buffs, at points there was time to worry. The Trojans jumped out to a 21-0 lead early, but USC was shut out in the fourth quarter with the Trojans' defense surrendering 27 second-half points. Head coach Lincoln Riley had some honest words after the game.
Didn't play a very good second half really on any of the three sides. Penalties, obviously, we had one turnover, missed tackles. I mean, just we did the things that you don't do when you're trying to finish out a good opponent on the road. So like, so excited about the good, a lot that we got to correct, which, I mean, that's college football.
So guys, we saw both good and bad things from USC this weekend. What moments stuck out to you guys from this game?
Obviously, I think Caleb's 6 touchdown throws were a major standout point of that game, but also on the defensive side, the Trojans still clearly have a lot they need to work on, as in that second half they were outscored, I think, 27-14.
I love the Trojans' offense in the first half, a plethora of receivers getting the ball and scoring touchdowns, and Caleb playing great, but that second half offense just wasn't there. They really need to improve that next week to get a win.
I'd agree, Casey. For me, what stands out is that fourth quarter shutout by the Buffaloes that, despite the win by USC, leaves a bit of a sour taste in my mouth. You know, the USC defense is going to need to improve and really lock in going forward if they want to continue the trajectory of their season.
Absolutely. I mean, there is one word to describe USC's offense this season: electric. Caleb Williams and the Trojans are looking as powerful as ever this season. With the Heisman Trophy winner throwing to receivers Taj Washington, Brendan Rice, and Mario Williams, the offense this year has stayed consistently spectacular. The combination of a strong run game and veteran receivers has been lethal this season. Adding Zachariah Branch and Arizona transfer Dorian Singer into the mix has given the Trojans the extra boost they needed. Currently, USC leads the FBS in points per game. They are also toward the top of the list in touchdowns. USC is in the top 3 with 555 yards per game. They've also scored more points than any team this season. When Caleb Williams is under center, an offense is sure to succeed, and the Trojan team is no different. Luckily for USC, the offense has been enough to make up for a struggling defense. Hayes Flanagan has more.
Thank you, Casey. I'm usually behind the camera, but this week I am coming in front of the camera to share my hot take of the week, and let me tell you, it is flaming hot. USC cannot be ranked in the top 4 with the defense that we have seen so far this year. If USC wants to succeed in the Big Ten, the defense needs to step it up. Here we see at ASU, this quarterback has way too much time in the pocket. Look, and then you see this terrible coverage, and this receiver has enough separation to catch it. Here we see Shedeur Sanders takes it out, and this missed block right here by number 10, he cannot get off this corner to come in and take Shedeur out, which makes it a first down for Sanders. And here we see Sanders right here, and there will be a missed block right here by number 90, gets handled by the by the Colorado offensive lineman, and then number 9 misses a tackle. This is absurd. So, as we can see, USC has way too many missed tackles, way too many unforeseen blocks. It's just not going well. So we can take it to the stats. So, as you can see by these clips, USC's defense is just missing way too many tackles left and right. But let's also bring in the numbers. They are 7th in the Pac-12 in tackles. That is not where they should be considering their rank. And then you see their average points per game. They're allowing 24 points per game. That's just way too many for a team that hangs their hat high on being ranked in the top 10. So let's see what linebacker Mason Cobb had to say so far about the defense this year.
We played a half. We played, a really good half, and I think at Arizona State we did kind of the same thing. We just kind of take those good areas and put them together. And try and get rid of the bad stuff. I think we needed to be exposed to those things. Playing away. Maybe we didn't have noticed that we needed to work on some things if that didn't happen.
Well, Cobb said it right. They may be playing halves, but they haven't played a full game of defense, and they won't stay undefeated for long with the defense we've seen so far. For the sake of all Trojan fans, I hope this defense can progress this week, because next week they cannot show any weakness against Sam Hartman and the Fighting Irish. Well, that's all for me. Pickle, back to you.
Thanks, Hayes. Caleb Williams is already a Heisman winner and has only added to a strong college resume this season. The QB is back in the Heisman lead. He put on a show Saturday, finishing with 6 touchdowns and 403 yards. Williams currently leads the nation in passing touchdowns with 21, 5 ahead of his closest competition, Jaden Daniels from LSU, and Washington QB Michael Penix Jr. Caleb is also in the top 10 in passing yards and yards per game. Here is Colorado's head coach Deion Sanders on USC's Signal Caller.
You know, he had some throws that I'm sure he would have wanted back, but that kid is a flat-out baller, man. He is a difference maker. He makes them better. It was a pleasure for me to play against them and their head coach.
Williams is currently on pace to outdo his 2022 Heisman campaign despite actually playing less football. On top of his 21 passing touchdowns, he's run for 3 touchdowns as well. He also has more passing yards through 5 games this year than he did last year. Let's hear what students had to say on his Heisman chances.
I think with his stats and his arm so far, I think for sure. He looks like a little mini Patrick Mahomes to me.
I would say between him and Penix right now are kind of like having their own Heisman race.
Competing with Washington and Oregon, it's going to be a shootout. We have the best gun as in Caleb Williams. I think that's going to help us a lot.
So, do you guys think that Caleb is a shoo-in for the Heisman this year, considering the Pac-12 quarterbacks that are also contenders?
I mean, absolutely. You got to put him in that race. He's one of the best quarterbacks out there. But the Pac-12 alone has so many great quarterbacks. I don't think you can put him as a lock quite yet, but I think Caleb Williams has the greatest chance.
Just like you said, Casey, it's hard to say he's a shoo-in when he has yet to go against the likes of Bo Nix or Michael Penix Jr., both of whom are making arguments for their own Heisman campaign, but there's no denying that Williams has had a fantastic start to the season, and if he can keep up his dominance, he most certainly will continue to be in that Heisman conversation.
Absolutely, Scott.
All right, the Trojans are back home on Saturday for USC's Family Weekend. USC will take on the Arizona Wildcats next, who own a 3-2 record with both losses coming in tight games. Despite injury setbacks, Arizona has been a very solid team thus far. Winning their first 2 games, the Wildcats were successful right out of the gate before losing a thriller to Mississippi State in overtime. However, Arizona regrouped and won its next 2 before falling to conference opponent Washington in a close one this past weekend, giving the Huskies their toughest test so far. Will, after the Wildcats gave Washington a scare, how can USC capitalize against this Arizona team and avoid an upset?
Well, last weekend, Arizona had a great test against an explosive offense in Washington to prepare for its bout with USC. If that game was any indication, the Trojans may have a lot more trouble than usual creating explosive pass plays. Here are a few that show which plays worked and which didn't against the Wildcats. So this first play we're going to see, it's a drop back, and you see there's a breakdown on the offensive line right away. Penix has got to get rid of this ball quickly, and he goes down the field as he so often does. His target is Rome Odunze, number 1 Pac-12 receiver in yards per game, but he is completely locked down by the cornerback. It winds up being a pass breakup. This play was not an outlier. Here's what did work for Washington. So you're going to see a 5-yard cushion here between Odunze and the cornerback, showing the respect that he had for his talent. So he's just going to run a curl route. He's so far behind he can't get up and make a play on the ball. This winds up going for an 18-yard gain, moves the chains. It's more methodical drives for Washington. When you do that, though, you got to convert in the red zone. On this play, looking near side, and everyone from the middle of the field down is completely covered. It's a broken up pass again. Washington did not score a touchdown on this drive, just sort of indication of how this game went. So the Trojans may not be as successful pushing the ball down the field, but if they're patient in their approach and win in the red zone, it can still be a very big day for Caleb Williams and company. For what to expect when Arizona has the ball, let's send it back to the desk.
With kickoff for the USC-Arizona game closing in, it's time to look at the Wildcat stars in more depth. We've chosen 3 players to look out for on the other side this week. It's time to meet the opponent. Before his recent ankle injury, Wildcats quarterback Jayden de Laura was pivotal in Arizona's success. In 4 games played, de Laura is 3-1 with the lone loss in overtime against Mississippi State. De Laura is a dual threat, so the USC defense will need to adjust against a mobile QB once again. However, with 5 interceptions already, the Trojan secondary will hope to take advantage of de Laura. While de Laura is expected to start, if he's sidelined, expect to see Noah Fifita take his place.
One of de Laura's key weapons in his passing game has been sophomore wide receiver Tetaroa McMillan, who has been especially agile and patient in his 2nd season with the Wildcats. McMillan led all true freshmen nationally last season with 702 yards on 39 receptions. He has been impressive this year as well with a season-high 161 receiving yards at Mississippi State. He will provide a big test for a USC defense that has been struggling the last couple of weeks.
Looking at Arizona's defense, sophomore linebacker Jacob Manu is definitely a player to watch. He has recorded 47 tackles and 3 sacks for Arizona in their first 5 games of the season. Last year in the Wildcats' upset win over UCLA at the Rose Bowl, Mono had a career-high 10 tackles, a pass breakup, and 4 quarterback pressures, leading him to be named Pac-12 Freshman of the Week. Make sure to keep an eye out for these Wildcats this weekend. ULC will take on Arizona this Saturday at the Coliseum, with kickoff scheduled for 7:30 p.m. on ESPN. Next, women's basketball released their schedule. We'll look into their top games this season. And later, who are our Trojans of the Week? Stay tuned to find out.
Fushigi!
Fushigi, I don't know what it is, but it's the coolest thing ever, and I can do it.
Hi, I'm Tim Goey, and this is Fushigi. We're gonna show you how to unlock the secrets of Fushigi, the magic gravity ball. No strings, no tricks. Magic? Maybe. An illusion? You decide. You can make Fushigi defy gravity and appear to float in midair with maneuvers like the prayer cross, the enigma, levitation, and so many more. It floats, it levitates, it will confuse the senses with its mind-blowing movements. Young or old, big or small, anyone can Fushigi from the minute they pick up the magic gravity ball. And with a little practice, you can conquer Fushigi.
This is so amazing.
I think it's fabulous.
I get it now.
Everyone loves Fushigi, and you don't have to be a magician. It's relaxing, even therapeutic. Best of all, it's just amazing.
It floats.
It's awesome. Fushigi.
From basic maneuvers to the advanced, even control more than one Fushigi at a time. You can do this. Mystify, amaze, and confuse your friends in just minutes. Now it's your turn to master Fushigi.
Fushigi!
It's sick. It's so much fun. I love it.
It's amazing!
I love it!
Me too!
My grandson, he's 16, he would love one of those. I want to buy it now.
Fushigi. Call now to order Fushigi.
USC women's basketball recently released its non-conference schedule and its Pac-12 pairings for the 2023-24 season. With marquee matchups such as Ohio State, UCLA, and Stanford, Juju Watkins and the Trojans will look to pick up where they left off last season and contend despite a tough slate of matchups ahead. Currently at 22 in the preseason rankings, coming off a first-round exit in the NCAA tournament to South Dakota State, USC is hoping to make a deeper run this season.
USC soccer is now ranked 15th in the nation after a successful trip to the Pacific Northwest. They secured 2 wins over Pac-12 rivals Washington State and Washington. The biggest win of the weekend was Thursday night in a nail-biter as USC beat number 23 Washington State. The Trojans were down by 1 goal in the first half, but Maribel Flores and Hannah Griffin scored late in the game to secure the 2-1 comeback win. USC then rode its wave of momentum into Sunday with a dominant 3-0 shutout victory over Washington. The Trojans are now on a 4-game win streak with a promising future ahead of them. They will take on Oregon and Oregon State at home Thursday and Sunday. USC soccer star Simi Awujo just qualified for the Olympics with Team Canada. Madison Hogue has the story.
USC Soccer's own Simi Awujo has just qualified for the Olympics with the Canadian women's soccer team. These results came just 2 months after she made her World Cup debut.
Getting the phone call, first of all, and knowing that I'm going to be going to a Women's World Cup, and not even just a Women's World Cup, but probably the biggest one, not even probably, the biggest one that there has been because of all the growing support and everything for women's football throughout the world. I just was like, this can't be real.
Straight after her Olympic qualification this past week in Jamaica and Toronto, she hopped on another plane to meet her Trojan teammates in Pullman, Washington to play Washington State.
I know a lot of the returners and people that have been here have been anticipating Pac-12 season since it ended last fall. And since we've been in the spring and we've done a lot of good things and seen a lot of good things from ourselves.
The Trojans have had a good start, and Awujo looks forward to the rest of Pac-12 play with high hopes for the rest of the season.
We all want to win a Pac-12, obviously, because USC women's soccer has never done it before, and this is our last chance because we're going to the Big Ten. So that's a huge goal on everyone's mind. And then obviously the NCAA championships.
You can watch Awujo and the Trojans take the field together back in Los Angeles tomorrow when they play the Oregon Ducks at 7:30 p.m. For Annenberg Media, I'm Madison Hogue.
If you can't catch tomorrow's game, be sure to head to McAllister Field on Sunday at noon to watch Awujo and USC Soccer play Oregon State.
Football was not the only team in action against Colorado over the weekend. Women's volleyball extended its winning streak to 9 in a row after beating the Buffaloes in 4 sets on Sunday. Skylar Fields led the way for the Trojans with 23 kills, and Mia Tuaniga added 45 assists, 6 digs, and 3 kills and a block. The Trojans' season-long 9-game winning streak is the longest since a 22-game streak to open the 2015 season. Fields is off to a hot start to begin the season with 274 kills and 101 digs. The outside hitter has also excelled defensively, posting 34 blocks on the season. Sunday's match against the Buffaloes was the 43rd time Fields had a double-digit kill game and her 23rd time with a 20-kill game as a Trojan. As the Trojans look to keep their winning streak alive, a 4-game road trip awaits and begins Friday at 6 p.m. against the 23rd ranked Arizona State Sun Devils.
It's another stellar week for USC athletes as they get recognized at a conference level for their skills and talents. Caleb Williams earned Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Week. Williams' 6 touchdowns tied his single-game career high, also throwing 6 touchdowns with Oklahoma back in 2021. He is the first FBS player in the last 25 years to throw for 6 passing touchdowns in a game for multiple schools. The Heisman contender is back at the top for odds to win the coveted award. Unstoppable in the water, USC's water polo player Max Miller earned MPSF Men's Water Polo Player of the Week honors. Miller scored a season-high 4 goals, helping the Trojans to cruise to a 16-6 win over number 10 Pacific. He was 4 of 5 shooting in the USC win and now leads the Trojans in scoring with 25 goals on the year. While one excels on the field, the other is a valuable asset in the pool. These 2 Trojans are offensive weapons and both lead their teams in scoring. Trojans have been impressive across many sports this season, so let's send it over to Will and Thomas to hear their Trojans of the Week.
It's that time of the week again. It's time for our picks for Trojan of the Week. Will and I both chose football players this week, but on different sides of the ball. Bryson Shaw, he's number 27 on the defense, made some mistakes against Colorado. He had a couple opportunities to stop some Buffalo's touchdowns, missed a couple tackles. But it's what he said in his post-game interview about taking accountability for the defense that makes him my Trojan of the Week.
Coach Grinch, he's doing a great job. I mean, we're letting them down. That's point blank period. We're letting them down. Like, I don't know what to tell y'all. As players, we're letting them down. I mean, he's putting us in the right spots. We're not making plays. We're missing tackles. We're not doing our job. I'm not doing my job. We're letting them down. We're letting them down.
Throw it, buys more time, side on throw, and it's caught. Washington across the field. Hits the sideline.
US and nothing. Taj Washington continued his strong season in Boulder with a 71-yard touchdown to give his team an early 14-0 lead. He had 8 catches, the most of any Trojan wideout this season, and was the only USC pass catcher to have over 100 receiving yards this week. So USC's defense gives up 41 points, but you want to give Trojan of the Week to a defensive player? Explain yourself.
Look, I'm glad you're giving me the chance to explain myself, because I know viewers at home are probably a little bit confused. But look, we have not seen anyone on this defense really take accountability for all of the missed tackles, all of the blown coverages, but that is exactly what Bryson Shaw did this weekend. He defended his coach. He said they need to get better, and even at a different point in the interview, he said it's embarrassing, which is true. I haven't seen any other USC defender take the accountability that Shaw did. That's why he's my Trojan of the Week.
I don't know. I feel like that speech he gave is the best argument not to give it to him. I mean, it's not like he was a passenger in this bad defensive effort. He gave up 2 touchdowns through the air himself. I mean, look, a speech is great. Saying you got to be held accountable is great. We have been talking about this defense needing to get better for well over a year. I haven't seen it. Look, you show me this speech and they shut out Arizona next week, I'll give them Trojan of the Year, but I got to see it first.
It's not even just a speech. It was an impassioned. He was embarrassed. He was more embarrassed than I had seen any other defender this year. And I think it's going to improve after this.
Well, Look, a guy like Taj Washington certainly wasn't embarrassed. I mean, 8 catches, again, a lot for this offense when you consider how evenly they distribute the ball. And he's just such a crafty veteran as the redshirt senior. On the touchdown he scored, it's just a simple out route that he cuts upwards. And knowing Caleb and him are on the same page, able to get that touchdown in the scramble drill, did a great job blocking downfield. All the little things that you do that help your offense get to be as good as it is, Taj Washington does it.
Well, I think 2 very good Trojans of the Week picks this week. But where it's time to move on, the NBA tipped off their season on Monday. Stay tuned for some highlights from the Clippers and Lakers Media Day. One USC runner is making her mark on the track. That's next on Sports Scene.
I'm working for an hourly wage. I went to high school, didn't do great. Still, I gotta make more cash. More education is what I'm looking at. When I get a degree, I will make a bigger salary. So now I've got to see which college is right for me. I went on the internet and found Education Connection. I took some free tests to find out my direction. I'm taking my classes online, getting my degree on my own time. Education Connection matched me with the right college for free. Get connected for free with Education Connection. Get connected for free with Education Connection.
Log on now and get your free success kit worth $100. Log on now to educationconnectiontv.com. That's educationconnectiontv.com.
There's a new pet.
Chia.
Chia Pet, the pottery that grows. It's fun and easy. Soak your chia, spread the seeds, keep it watered, and watch it grow. And now grow a whole collection of fun with Chia teddy bears, puppies, kittens, rams, bulls. There's even a chia tree to keep your pets company. Chia Pets and Trees, the pottery that grows.
The Chia Pet and Chia Tree are available at Kmart, Rite Aid, Ames, and Woolworth. Makes a great gift.
Welcome back to Sports Scene. This week, Sports Scene reporter Gabby Petrone had the opportunity to sit down with USC cross-country and track runner Marnie Sullivan.
What's up, everyone? I'm here with track and field athlete Marnie Sullivan. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
I'm so glad to have you here. We're going to start off with a little game. This game is called Run or Walk. You're going to tell me if you're going to run or walk to the following.
Okay.
All right. The new Olivia Rodrigo album.
Run.
Pumpkin spice latte.
Run.
5 a.m. run.
That's more of a walk.
Skinny jeans.
Walking the other direction.
Totally. Nike having a 50% off sale.
I'm booking it to that store.
Of course. And finally, track practice.
Run.
You gotta. You're doing a lot of running, I can see.
Mm-hmm.
So, Marnie is a grad student who just came here from Boston College. How has it been since joining the team here?
It's been great. It's been a lot of new people, so we have a lot of new freshmen, but we also have a lot of other grad transfers. Kind of nice being in the same boat as them, and I think our team chemistry is super great. I mean, as much as the early morning practice can sometimes be hard, the energy and the atmosphere in the mornings have been super great, and I think everyone on the team is super friendly, super funny.
That's so nice. It's good to know that you have a good support system there helping you, especially during those 5 a.m. runs. But I also understand that you are deaf with a cochlear implant.
Yeah.
So tell us about how this has affected your life and your athletic career.
So I was born deaf. I had cochlear implant surgery when I was 3.5 years old. Growing up, I always had a love and passion for sports and started running more competitively in track. When I first started running track, that was kind of a space where I felt supported. I liked being with my teammates and coaches, and I also just liked the challenge of being pushed every day at practice.
You're quite the athlete, I would say. I know that this is coming near the end of Deaf Awareness Month, and you do a lot of promotion on social media and TikTok. I'm curious to know a little bit about how your teammates and your coaches support you through your hearing loss.
I think it was really important when my coach would explain the drill while showing it, or I would have one of my teammates go first, so then I would watch one of my teammates, because my eyes are constantly scanning the room or field, trying to pick up everything that my ears are not picking up. So I think showing and telling the drill is super helpful. And then in terms of races, I actually use a flag start for all my races. In addition to the gun, I'm always very proactive. I go up to my coaches like 2 hours before my race at the meet. I'm like, hey, like, can you talk to the official? I want to make sure we have the flag start. I'm just skimming the surface on some tips that help me on and off the track.
It's nice to know that people are accommodating and willing to help and repeat themselves and offer just an alternative to make sure that you're getting, what you need. And also, you're just such an inspirational person in general, and I admire you so much. And I want to know, could you leave us with some words of inspiration?
I had a lot of challenges on and off the track in my undergrad, and my mother said to me, you have to change every negative into a positive. So that's been kind of my mindset, and I think just being resilient and moving forward, because you wake up every day and you choose the kind of attitude you're going to give to yourself and to others, not family, friends, coaches, and teammates. So I think my biggest piece of advice is definitely shifting all the negatives into positives.
I like this perspective, and you are very resilient. It has been such a pleasure talking to you today.
Well, thank you so much for having me on, Gabby. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for coming. That's all the time we have for today. Sending it back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Gabby. The Clippers and Lakers held their Media Day Monday, with players having their chance to speak about the upcoming season. The media had a chance to take pictures of the players and interview the team about upcoming season. Clippers Kawhi Leonard spoke about staying healthy throughout the long season, while Lakers star LeBron James gave an update for USC fans on Bronny's status.
Bronny is doing extremely well. He has began his rehab process to get back on the floor this season with his teammates in USC, and it was a successful surgery that he had, but he's on the up and up.
All right, guys, big season coming up. Who do you think is going to be the better team this season, the Clippers or the Lakers?
Well, obviously the Lakers are the favorited team here in LA, but I'm going to go with the Clippers as thinking they're the better team this year, especially since the Lakers have not beaten the Clippers since 2020. So until I see it happen, I'm going Clippers.
I'm going to have to agree with you, Pickle. I'm taking the Clippers. It might be a hot take, but this is a veteran team, and perhaps the last year with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, given their current contracts, this franchise has not lived up to its expectations in these players' eras with only one conference finals appearance, but the collected demeanor at Media Day and the anticipation surrounding Leonard and George's futures could serve as motivation for this team that I think is really going to surprise people this season.
I'm going to have to disagree. I'm taking the Lake Show. The Lakers last year had a deep playoff run, beating Golden State and making it with a deep team with acquired players such as Rui Hachimura. I love D'Angelo Russell in that lineup. And, of course, Anthony Davis and LeBron. I'm loving the way I see the Lakers. I think they're going to make a deep push this year.
We will have to see what happens later this season, but for now, it has been another week of Trojans thriving in the NFL. Detroit Lions wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown caught a 24-yard touchdown pass on Thursday. He contributed 5 catches for 56 yards, helping to lead to a Lions victory. Falcons wide receiver Drake London lived up to his last name in London. He was the only Falcon to score a touchdown against the Jaguars on Sunday. We will see in the coming weeks how these Trojan alums will continue to succeed in the NFL. But that's all we have on today's sports scene. See you back here next Wednesday. For everyone at Annenberg Media, I'm Pickle Coleman.
I'm Scott Hills.
And I'm Casey Kasliner. We'll see you next week. Fight on.